I don't know if you were on that email this afternoon.
No.
He sent me a
Okay,
diagram.
and I thought you'd turn on the.
Like, I don't want to get involved.
I will.
It's not bad. I'm like,
Okay.
I'm grateful. I mean, I think I did, yes, I'm not gonna lie. So, yeah, so this is the most productive committee in the village, I believe. Am I correct, Jerry?
Oh, yeah, by far,
Yeah, that's fine.
when I'm sitting here.
I bet you say that to all the committees.
Jenna Blair, I've met you twice. I was at the garden tour at your house. Lovely. And then I picked up seeds. And I had a whole lot of false leaf mine growing in my basement.
So my name is Kate Hayes. I've been sort of nature field since I was a kid. I studied environmental science at Columbia and State College. And when I lived in Larchmont, I was on the coastal zone management commission for insurance. And you know, I care passionately about these topics. It's what I'm doing here.
Liam, yeah, he's there. So, I guess I'm more interested in the energy side of things. But I might need your help or some of your seeds shortly. Well, I'm about to estimate my front yard, so now I'm gonna have it.
Don't look back. Yeah, no more reading.
Well, no, I'm gonna no more lawn. Silver. Off Orient.
Okay.
You go up Orient Road, and hit the white car. There's a stop sign and a silver lane. Off Orient Road.
I don't think.
What crap?
Could I just, I'm sorry, this is Christy, I'm barging in, I apologize, but Jerry, while you're fine tuning, the audio is fairly muffled. I don't know if there's any way to improve that.
Putting a microphone down.
Can you hear better now?
Fantastic.
All right. No, that's.
Sorry to interrupt, carry on, Debbie.
Okay, so I'm Debbie Sullivan. I'm
I think all of us should just speak loudly.
Yeah.
As
Well, this is much improved. Now there's a microphone on the table. I can actually hear words. Thank you, Jerry.
I've been on the committee for, I think, 2 years. And I'm the secretary at the moment. Permanently, well, we can discuss that. I joined after I retired. And I wanted to devote myself to environmental things. So I've learned a lot. I primarily came in thinking more about energy, but there's so much focus here on the gardening practices and native species, butterflies, et cetera, that I've learned a lot.
I'm Lindsay, right? So I just joined the committee a couple months ago, and I got involved, I think, kind of on the same. I was becoming obsessed with the invasive plants in the community and getting people to understand kind of what's in the backyards. And I'm on the village environmental committee for my school, and
I'm Mandy Psychos. I think it's my 3rd year here.
So is it our third?
I think it's our 3rd. We're going into our 3rd or something like
Going
that.
into our third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just the crazy caterpillar person, butterfly person, but it translates well. So, as long as we're educating
and a
someone.
party planner.
Oh, and a party planner, because I used to be an event planner. So that's what I do now here.
Yay.
Lucky for us.
Yes. You always need one of those.
Super great.
And that's it. And I also run Instagram. So if you have a thought for an Instagram post, please somebody send me thoughts. I did get part of your thoughts. We'll talk about
Yeah.
that later.
Good
Any
Lord.
old thought or environmentally related thought? Environmentally related from our committee that we would want to put out there. We just reached 500 people. I know that sounds silly, but it's good.
That's good. Though.
I know. We're getting there.
So I'm David Freeman. I'm the chair. I'm an environmental lawyer by training. And I've been on, this is my last year, so it's either my 4th or my 6th year. I think it's gotta be my 4th. I don't think I've been on for 6. I'm interested mostly in sustainability, energy related issues. Jared, you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Jerry, I'm the village manager. We met before at Harbor Island Park.
I remember. Oh, we were talking about flowers.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
And then
And we have 2 people on
Yeah.
the screen.
Do you guys want to
You guys
introduce
wanna-
yourself, Christy?
Chat.
Oh, Renee, you want to go first?
No, it doesn't matter. I'm I'm Renee Crabtree. I've been on the committee for 4 years now. My prime focus is the native species and composting. Are kind of the things I joined to try and promote.
And I'm Christine. Oh, sorry, Mandy, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, and she runs the community garden.
And I run the community. Yes, that's true. Thanks, Mandy.
No.
I'm Christy Young, and David is, I think, the only member left since I started. So I might challenge you and say you might be getting closer to 6 because I feel like I'm getting closer to 5. But irregardless, with all the change, I'm quite excited about the enthusiasm and the energy that we have as a group now. I think we're poised to have a lot of opportunities, and just picking which one we want to focus our energies on and who does so is really, it's very exciting. I'm thrilled. And my focus is whatever I can at the moment, but I'm very also big with green space and water access for the public, with with an understanding of what they're looking at and how it's relevant to them and the nature around them. So education, that's tough.
Yeah, I echo Christie's statement. I've been on, however many years I've been on, this is the most active, the best committee that we've had so far. It's a great group of people. So we welcome you and we look forward to your contributions. The minutes of the March 1st meeting were taken,
Kind of.
and very,
Very big shoes.
very well taken by Lindsay. And so we now have, you all should have gotten copies. And I did not bring extra copies. So if you don't, please search your memory. I'm going to make a motion.
I did notice that it's AM instead of PM.
You can't vote on these anyway. We weren't here last time.
Fine.
So don't worry, you're good.
Let's make sure that that is correct. It's PM.
Yeah.
That was, otherwise it's a very long meeting. And so with that modification, do I have a second to do the minutes? Second. All in favor?
Hi.
Opposed? Yes, okay. We're really ripping through this agenda. What we've done, Dina, just so you understand how we're structuring ourselves this year, is we have subcommittees and we're trying to get more people doing active things. So we have subcommittees, which are we're trying to empower them to do things on their own between committee meetings. And then what we are starting to do is, and I hope to continue it, is each meeting we'd have a report from a subcommittee saying in effect what the progress has been on their strategic plans. We had talked about strategic plans last meeting. And so with that, should we just go through on any particular order? But I have put down an order which is arbitrary, but do you want to start?
I will start because it's a very long update. I emailed Dan Sarnoff and he said he was anticipating hearing back late March with an update. And I asked him how can we support them? Who should we reach out to get this moving. And so I was waiting till late March to follow up. So I figure April 1st, I'll bother him again since it's my first time interacting with him. So
Okay.
that's it.
So you'll recall that when George Latimer was here,
Mhm.
he encouraged us to write him if we needed his help. So that's one thing that we should keep in mind when,
Yeah.
when you talk to Dan, if
Yeah.
there's some follow-up that we can do productively with George.
Right. And I didn't include that. I was just waiting to hear back from the board.
Okay, so we'll
I'm
just
sorry,
wait.
you're following up with Dan to
To
about.
find out who we should contact at the DEC to see how
Okay.
we can push this along.
Just to, I'm sorry, I'm raising my hand invisibly because I'm eating dinner, but I just wanted to make sure for clarity's sake on the outside that we're talking about Taylor's Lane because, okay.
Right.
I spoke with Dan about it a couple hours ago. And he has it on his to-do list to check with them.
Okay, so great. So if he wants us to be involved some way, or you want us to be involved, or Jerry, you want us to be involved in some way?
Yeah.
Pushing DEC, we're happy
Sure.
to help.
We're working with a Daniel Lanners, Lanners.
So guy at DEC,
It's a guy at DC, Daniel Lanners. And Michael Murphy, another Michael.
oh,
Murphy.
Mike Murphy, yes, I know Mike.
You know, Michael.
Do they have to approve any plan that we have for DEC?
They have the right to approve anyway.
Okay,
They may say, we don't care, it sounds good. Or they may ask for an official one.
okay.
And there's the issue about the Rye Town property.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's
Portion of Taylor's Lane.
the portion of Taylor's Lane that reverted to Rye Town. And although the landfill cap is not on that property, two monitoring wells are. So that has to be worked out before we proceed with any overt plan or specific.
So I met with two people from the Westchester Land Trust whose property is adjacent to Taylor's Lane, not about Taylor's Lane. It was coincidental discussion. I
Were
was
you driving
taking,
there today?
what?
Did you drive, were you there today?
No,
Oh.
I was there Friday
Oh.
and they wanted to go walk through the preserve.
Otter Creek?
The Otter Creek Preserve, the walkway.
Right.
And I showed them all the places that they needed to improve their walkway. It's
Okay.
very muddy. But I said, the village is about to do something with this large piece of land, which is adjacent to your property. You might have an interest one way or the other in knowing what we're doing. You may want to have an input. And they said, well, we don't actually want to touch it with a pole in terms of owning it or having any jurisdiction over it. But she said, we've been active with we know about a number of communities. I said, talk to them about what we were thinking of doing. I said, what are the issue? What are the possibilities? Is solar? One is a sort of passive recreation walkways. Apparently, there are some communities that have done a very good combination of solar with passive walkways. And I said, why don't you, I think Somers was one community that they recommended that we look into. And supposedly they're going to send me some materials. Because there's no reason we're not the only community that has bill we're trying to do something with. And there's every reason that we should learn from. what
And this
other
was
people
somebody
do.
from the Westchester Land
Yes.
Trust?
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I reached out to them originally. That's how how I spiraled into here at this moment. But I had reached out to the Westchester Land Trust to see if they owned the property on Taylor's. And I asked them if they were gonna take over that land, and that was their
They don't want
response.
to touch it.
We don't want to preserve.
Yeah.
that.
Well, I don't think they
So-
really enjoy taking jurisdiction over dominated land. There's a
Yes,
headache
they were
with it.
very clear about that.
It's been
Yes.
properly capped or something?
Yeah.
Environmental lawyer dude.
It's
quote
it's
unquote
fine.
not
It's
fueling
totally safe.
Off gas.
Many years ago.
going on.
yeah,
It's
decades
it's
ago.
it's a
Yes.
It's,
Okay.
I've actually been involved with that landfill
Okay.
for a while, and it's a pretty safe in terms of contaminated land. It's on the very far part of the spectrum towards safe as opposed to really dangerous. But there is contaminated groundwater, which has to be taken care of. So,
And pollinator, you can put pollinator plants in with the solar panels. It's not.
Can we with contaminated groundwater?
sure.
I mean, how deep is the groundwater? If it's, they're getting
Well, I'm
rainwater
thinking,
too, right?
Wouldn't that affect the wildlife and butterflies?
But there's a cap,
It's
right?
groundwater, it's several feet deep,
Yeah.
and it doesn't,
And it has a cap on it.
Sealed.
it's
cap.
capped, and
Yeah.
The
levels of
contaminated
contaminants are
groundwater
not
has been
very high.
capped Earth on top and then.
Yeah, that's.
Okay, great. Okay.
That's
Okay.
all.
So ideally, what you'd be looking at would be a solar array
Mhm.
with pollinator plants planted amongst them. Maybe a walking track. I guess.
Sounds nice.
Okay.
So Lou, at one of the Board of Trustee meetings I attended, someone was trying to promote the idea of a soccer field.
That was during public comments.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I heard that.
That's an old idea, and yeah, but over my dead body, but.
I think the problem with that is, some people would say it's
People don't want
dangerous to have
parking
people
there.
play on it. My view is probably that's not, probably the parking is the
Yeah.
issue.
Parking, yeah,
The neighbors
the
aren't
people who
gonna
live
want
down
that.
there don't want tons of people coming there. Parking lights at night, all that. They want.
Okay.
That's my sense, knocking on doors.
I think if you tell people that it's toxic. You don't want your.
You don't slide in
Playing on
second
that.
base too hard.
Go and play on the artificial turf. And all that
Catherine,
ground
you
up
wanna come down
tires.
and meet me one day, Catherine? Want to come meet me and take a peek in there to kind of see? Yeah.
Sure. I
Open
have,
spaces.
I've
so,
prowled around,
Yeah,
trust me.
but
I have.
yeah.
Okay, well, that's good. We'll just
Yeah, sure.
keep after Dan.
Charge of solar panels on top so that
Okay.
there's a lot of green area on the side. I mean, different ways of doing this.
I don't know the details. I'm not, but they would be, I believe. And Jerry, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe these would be fixed panels. They wouldn't be able to track the sun because that would require more weight than the cap.
Correct.
Bear. Yeah.
Fixed panels.
So fixed panels.
But they couldn't be on top of the structure.
What?
I'm just thinking they could be on top of the structure and you drive your car in, you charge and the solar panels.
No. These solar panels would be feeding the grid.
Yeah,
So
it's
that-
also a
I
slope
read.
site. It's not really meant for parking.
And it's
Oh,
also
that's
a
something,
revenue
this
generator.
is something else.
So in addition to that, the issue is,
I love it.
when they install these solar panels, they have precast footings. They're only like 2 foot deep. You can't have large structures on that facility.
Okay, right.
Because you can't penetrate the membrane, the cap. So they would be very low to the ground, actually, very low to the ground, just a couple of inches off the ground.
And right now, Dan told me today that the technology right now is that they can't track the sun. Because that would make them too heavy, but that could change. I mean, people as, maybe that technology could be made fun of.
Do they have actually a plan with square footage of what, is there? Is the solar panel just an idea or do they actually have
It's an idea.
plan?
It's an
For
idea.
how much space they need for it?
What Dan told me again was that he's been told that range is 750 watts to a megawatt. There are existing, there are existing structures in New York State that we can use as an example. And technology for the solar panels improves constantly. So, I mean, if you put them in 10 years ago, you would have gotten much less out of it. Now they're much more efficient.
We don't have any drawings.
No, we're not.
We don't even own, we don't even have the property.
Oh, I see. If we gain possession, is it then owned by the village and self-generated, solar? That's great.
There are a lot of different ways of doing it.
Yeah.
You can basically contract out for somebody
Right,
and,
right, right.
you can rent the place out to people, to somebody that will install and take the expense of installing it and then get a share of the proceeds.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
there
I
are
mean,
a variety of
there's
different.
two ways to do it. One would be to, you know, let a bond and build it and create a municipal power authority, which is probably more grandiose than we want to be. The other would be to put an RFP out.
And Con Ed could run it or somebody could run it.
Connie would get the electricity.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, Jerry, now we can't, how does that, work? We can't sell it to Con Ed, right? Or we,
We can produce what we use.
Yeah.
Anything we produce. So what we use, we sell back to them.
yeah.
Right.
So we would be reducing our municipal electric bill.
Correct.
Which would directly benefit our taxpayers. Yeah.
Right, which is these buildings and everything.
Yeah.
Got it.
I mean, it wouldn't be the same electricity,
Sure.
but it would be and the other thing is that down the road, then you could plan for a battery storage where and create a mini grid. So if the grid were to fail, the area immediately around that solar array would have access to electricity, continue to do and that would enhance property values too.
Yep.
That's definitely.
It's a big opportunity for us if we do that right. Okay, do you want to
Yeah, so
talk about the
there's,
open space?
we have this new park, new preserve called Rockland Pocket, which is 9,500 square feet. And there's going to be a lot of action down there because there's plants coming and so forth. So, so since I have Jerry here, it all hinges, everything that happens down there hinges around the trees being planted. So I've been in communication with Beverly, that's the head of the tree committee, about, and she told me she's been talking to Jeff, because there's the trees have to go in before we plant anything. And so we've been promised those middle of April to a little further into April. And so I'm just kind of mentioning that again, because the first bunch of plants are expected on either the 23rd or the 24th. Those are smallish ground cover. And then we're getting a lot of bare root shrubs, a lot of them that are coming from the DEC the last week of April or the first week of May. They'll confirm those dates a little further on. So, and then, so a spinoff, and I sent everybody an email about this quite a while ago, but you may not remember, was that because of the quantities that DEC, when they have these native plant, it's large amounts. And they had already sold out of all their dogwoods. And so we went for the higher amount and they cost literally $1 a plant. So I reached out to the Washingtonville Housing Alliance and I need to follow up with them, but to collaborate to basically distribute some of these willows and dogwoods, particularly the pussy willows, which are a wetland plant, into that neighborhood. And so we're going to arrange it someday in probably the beginning of May. And so the village is paying for it. All the DEC, it's $215. It's not a lot for 200 plants, but should we sell them for $1 and then put that money back in the coffer?
I don't think you have to.
Okay, you know,
You should just,
we'll ask for donations and put it
you
back
can
in.
ask for donations.
Yeah, okay, I didn't know, I didn't want
to.
to, yeah, so I just wanted to ask you that, okay.
Kate,
And-
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
did you also think about contacting the CRC, the Community Resource Center?
I need to with that.
Okay,
'cause
I have
it's
to
the
write
same
about something
gang
else.
and
I just
I'm-
think that would be a good.
Yeah, it's
Because
anybody
like in
who's
the
a
neighborhood.
neighbor in those lower areas that have been so excessively flooded that
they
would
could easily
benefit.
contact
from
their
these plants.
community
Okay.
and make sure that they know about it.
Yeah. I gotta talk to, it's Laura Ate and her husband that are the ones that are very involved in that.
They just announced an association meeting at St. Vito's on the 27th.
Okay, on March 27th? Okay, I don't think I can go to that,
April,
but,
I'll send it to you. via
okay,
email.
yeah, but I
Yes.
have to call her. I owe her a phone call.
The
Yeah,
MAS area and like back where the Camardas are,
yes,
like
yes.
with the school, or is that like crossing the line?
No, I mean, if the school would go for it, why not, you know?
Maybe.
Yeah, so anyhow, to pursue that. So that brings me to the next topic. So, on this thing I gave everybody last time, open space ideas and so forth. So just so you know where we moved ahead a little bit. So I met up with Bernie Camarda, who I think you know, Jerry, who is, yes, okay, who doesn't know?
Bernie.
Yeah, okay, so he is on the flood mitigation committee, and his house is right up against the wall of 95, and he's been flooded really badly. But anyway, because I'm trying to do research on that to understand better where the drains are and how the whole thing fits together, right? So he showed me, his property, which was pretty mind-blowing because a whole lot of the drains come out like literally in his backyard. And then what I did not know is that Gedney Pond on the other side, on the west side of 95, which is a huge pond,
Yep.
has a stream running out of it that runs right under the highway and comes out right next to his property.
Where is his house?
His house is on the corner of Ralph and Gertrude. It's over behind the Mamaroneck Avenue School, and they got hammered with flooding. So anyway, this is just information, it doesn't, and it goes into a culvert, which he told me goes down Ralph Avenue to the Avalon. Though on the maps, it looks like it goes across Gertrude straight into Hillside, but he said it goes down Ralph Avenue,
Videotaped it today.
makes a turn. Okay, so anyway, so I've been working on that and this whole trying to put data together about what exactly is going on the highway, how much water they're contributing to our flooding problem. So that was a first step for me. And I'm going to go to the flood mitigation. I think they meet next Tuesday and put all this out there and hopefully have it further along to try to, work in a collaborative fashion with them.
So
And
the whole entire pipe is gonna be
made bigger, I hope.
well, it's 2 30-inch pipes.
Okay.
Under the roadway. And it
Okay,
goes into a cement pipe. like
Right.
the Avalon,
right,
The DEC will not allow us to make it bigger.
okay,
We can only replace what we have.
yeah,
So the equivalent of 2 pipes is 54-inch pipe. We'll be installing a 50 pipe. However, right at the entrance to MAS school, the back entrance off of Ralph,
right,
the pipe is crushed. It was
okay.
Destroyed during Ida.
Oh, wow,
From
okay,
there all the way up to Elliott.
okay, I
So-
don't know where LA is, but
It's the next street up.
yeah,
It's the next street up.
right,
So all of that will be replaced, completely replaced. All
Okay.
the way to the Avalon.
yeah.
All the way to.
So that's the villages, anyway, so I don't want to spend a lot
Where
of
does it
time
go
on
from
it.
the Avalon. Where does it-
Underneath the Avalon and
And then it makes a turn, it comes out beneath the Jefferson Avenue Bridge. I just found that out and I actually checked it out today.
This is
Very
the
big.
pipe that's been broken, crushed.
So it-
Yes.
So
Okay.
it ends up in the Mamaroneck River or?
It comes into the Mamaroneck River underneath the Jefferson Avenue Bridge. And it's so much water. It's just really,
95.
well, it's actually coming from the other side. It's the Saxon Woods water.
Didn't you say
It's getting, it's a lake. It's pretty big. I went over there today to check it out
Yeah,
and I
so
was shocked
that's-
at how large it was.
It's on the side of the,
Of the highway.
Yeah.
And it all comes right into the village. But anyway, So, yeah.
Mandy is in the town. of Mamaroneck.
Okay,
The-
I'm thinking. of
Yeah,
somewhere
no,
else.
Gedney
Okay.
Pond is in
You
the
gotta be on
village.
95 to see.
It's
it,
in the village.
getting on the
Yeah, or you have to do a little trespassing like I did. Okay, but anyway, so that's just
I'm
put
in
that to the
Jersey.
side. That's in progress. So then Christy and I went for a walk the following day to try to scope out some of these sites, right? And so we met in Jefferson, we met in Columbus Park, and so this whole, thing that we've talked about already. We brought it to the Army Corps and the Army Corps said whether the culvert is grass or whether it's gravel, we're not sure. But that sounds like an open culvert. That's not a tunnel anymore. So that was a huge win. But in order to make this work, we have to get the village to become involved. And so I asked Lou a little earlier if he'd be willing to meet with me to kind of talk over some of these things to figure out how to move it forward, right? Because how the village turns the whole Jefferson Avenue parking into more of a park space. You understand? Yeah, I mean, the whole thing Tony and I talked about last year, if you remember the details. That was the presentation.
So
Yeah.
essentially, it's a culvert with parking on both sides
Yeah.
and
But
yeah.
so basically where they had designed a tunnel, they seem to have agreed to make it a culvert, which is going to be open. But to make it really function, that whole area, which is floodplain, to make it function better as a
When
floodplain.
you see they who, they,
Okay,
Army Corps.
the Army Corps in conjunction with us, because the
Okay.
Army Corps said they do culvert, but anything beyond that is the village. So the thing we proposed and everybody seemed to go for it, but now we need to move it forward, is that all that parking lot is gonna come off. You know, the macadam, and then the whole thing has to go down by 3.5 feet to meet the top of their culvert, because their tunnel was originally designed to be 3.5 underneath the parking lot. So the idea is to strip it all away, to make it a lowered parking lot with permeable surface and vegetate it all around so that it also holds water in a flood. So it increases the functionality of Army Corps' plan. They have no objection whatsoever. But in order to move it forward, the village is gonna have to participate because they don't do parking lots. They're the Army Corps. That's not their thing. So, so that's what I wanna talk to you
but
about.
they're gonna rip up the parking lot.
Well, they're gonna tear it up, but their policy, what they say is whatever we've damaged, we'll put it back the way it is. So you had a parking lot, we'll give it back to you. Just the way it was. Knock down a tree, we'll put another tree there. But that's not what is beneficial for the village. So the proposal that we discussed was lowering the parking lot, permeable pavers, you know, and then what that does is it makes the whole border of the river, you know, there's a huge chunk of land. You and I walked over there that's full of knotweed and everything, right? It's very steep. Nobody can get to the river. You can't get through the knotweed. You can't fall down that hill and fall into the river. But if the whole thing's lower, it can be re-landscaped with native plants and have a pathway and have benches. So all the people that live on that side of town can walk across, walk right down through the culvert and go fishing and sit by the river. They can enjoy that whole.
We expand the park.
Yeah, I mean, it's Columbus Park. It's Columbus Park. So, you know, this is what we, you know, Tony and I started talking about this last year, but how to move it forward, like, because this is gonna be expensive. You know, it has to be designed, it has to be landscaped, you know, there's gonna be engineers. And it's tricky because the Army Corps hasn't really designed their piece yet. But, you know, we kind of have to be ready that when they come in and say, okay, this is what we have in mind, that we're good to go to, so anyway.
We have to decide how much money we're willing to spend.
Right, and it also may be that, I mean, you know, I am not good at grants. That's not my. Okay, so maybe somebody is, maybe you are, I don't know. We have that, and Christy and I did that grant last year, you know, that I found that really hard. It's really not my forte. But, you know, we have this Millennium Strategies on you know, on retainer that last year Dan worked with us and we put together, you know, it was a lot of work, but there's money out there, but you have to apply for it properly. And I think probably the village could get money to have this done.
Well, it's a sustainability issue and there's a $4.2 billion bond act that just got
Yeah,
passed.
I
So
mean,
there's
there's that whole.
got to be money somewhere.
Yeah, there's definitely got to be money, but you know, this is a big project, so.
But Kate, why do you think the Army Corps is not gonna pay?
Because,
If I have my way, the Army Corps is gonna pay.
well, I mean, maybe they will, but the Army Corps is gonna pay for their culvert, right?
But they're gonna pay for whatever design they come up with based on the information that we have.
Okay, well, I mean, maybe they will cover parts of it,
I don't
but,
think the money part of it or the concern.
Okay.
I think the idea is for the village to advance and decide on
Mhm,
what they want. Either they want a
okay,
culvert underneath the parking area, or they want an open channel.
well, we've
What are we
already
talking about?
asked them to do an open channel. You already wrote them last year and asked for that.
It's just that we haven't gotten to that design. point.
Right, and
I've been
they-
involved- I've been involved in the Ward Avenue Bridge design.
Right,
But once they finish the Ward Avenue Bridge design, then they move to Columbus
Right.
Park. We'll be involved with that.
Yeah,
Because there would have been some expense for them anyway.
yeah.
It may require, yeah,
Yeah,
I don't think.
They may pay for most of it, because they're gonna be ripping the place to pieces anyhow. And it's probably cheaper for them to put it back this way. But, you went to that meeting when the Army Corps came here, right? And Bethany stood there and said, okay, in answer to a question, where do you stand with the tunnel/culvert? She said, will it be grass or will it be gravel? We haven't gotten there yet. But that tells me it's an open culvert. That's not a tunnel.
But it won't be parked.
Well, the culvert itself won't be parking, but but all that land next to
both
it.
sides of it. Okay, all right.
Okay, well, if you're willing to give up the parking lot, that's even better for us.
I'm more willing to try to resolve the flood.
Well, of course, but
I'm with him.
the thing, it all goes together,
Yeah.
because if you lower it, I did the calculations, it will hold, a massive amount more of water. It becomes like a little basin.
Yeah, so to give you an idea, for every acre of land, 1 foot of water is 325,000 gallons.
Okay, well,
But so the big
Anyway.
expense with what you're proposing,
Mhm.
Kate, is taking out 3 feet of land.
3.5 feet of fill and dirt
Lowering the
Yeah.
parking lot
Yes.
as it exists now, 3.5
and
feet
finding a
down,
Yeah.
home for it.
creating a sunken
Right.
Yeah,
below the roadway.
Floodplain.
And by the way, it's on both sides, not just the big parking lot, but the other one. So
I understand.
lowering the
this side
park,
too.
lowering, this is the,
Yeah.
we did a little baby design already for this. Lowering of the parking lot and park area by 3.5 feet, which is, okay, and I measure, it's measured on the village plans. I calculated it would hold 350,000 cubic feet of water. Okay, 2.6 million gallons of flood water, in addition to what's going through the culvert. Okay, so that's a lot of extra water that's
Great.
that's getting slowed down, that's absorbing into the ground. So that's a huge benefit for flood control. But then if you can dovetail it and do it in an environmentally sensitive way, it's nice for the public all the rest of the time when we're not in the middle of a flood.
Jerry, how far do you think we are from that point where they would, when
We'll,
they're gonna
we'll
get?
have this, in our July board meeting, we'll have the final design for Ward Avenue, and then they'll provide the schedule for the construction, demo and construction. So it'll be demolished by the end of the year, and they start construction right after that. At that point, in the July meeting, we will start working on the design for Columbus Park area.
Okay,
So we're in this, fall, summer, fall, we start working on the design.
so the thing is, they're not park designers, so we have to kind of do our part, I think, so I don't know quite how that works,
Okay, we can take care of
okay, so.
that. We can take care of that.
all
Are
right.
they open to co-designing or having us lead the design? They being the
Yeah.
Army Corps?
Yeah, they're open to us. Them
Okay,
and
good.
everything that we do. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so that's great.
So should we try and have a plan to give them at the beginning of the fall?
It seems, it strikes me that the more we give them, the more we've worked out
Yeah.
what we're looking to do, the more they're likely to incorporate it.
Right.
Like they were gonna go just do their tunnel thing, but then, you put the idea, then they go, okay, I don't quite get it, but that seems to be how.
It's uncharacteristically open-minded.
Well,
my
anyway, that's a
experience,
whole.
but if we have,
It's a design build model.
This,
Yeah, so that's what they're doing.
That's what they're
Design
doing.
build.
But every time we've brought anything to them that we've thought through, they seem to go along with it. So, all right, so that's really great. And then let's see, also with Christie, let's see, okay. Okay, so, we also, so I don't want to, I'm taking a lot of time here, but we looked at that Hess, with the back of Hess that borders onto the river, that we want to pursue, doing a
I'm thinking we should have a
conservation
field.
easement. Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
well,
mean,
I
This is really interesting
Yeah.
to me anyway, but I'm very unfamiliar with some of these
I
territories. Maybe we should
Christy and I, we do this
try,
together and I put it out there.
figure out a
Yeah.
time when most of us can actually,
Yeah,
when it gets a little nicer,
yeah.
we'll spend a couple hours
When
walking.
you can
in
wade
Salisbury.
through the a little
So
bit of the road.
basically,
and get some-
if you stand on the Jefferson Avenue Bridge, you know, right, so where you're right at the top of Columbus Park, okay? You'll get used to this here. This is where it is. That's
Yeah,
the
all
Jefferson
the-
Avenue
I'm
Bridge.
familiar with the.
Okay, and you look up Mamaroneck Avenue, okay, there's
Up toward
Picone
White Plains.
sausages right there. And there's a Hess station on
Sure.
Mamaroneck Avenue, and they have an
Yeah,
irregularly
Speedway.
shaped
Ah.
dock that goes all the way down to the water. The back half of which is fenced off.
Huh?
And it's trees and grass, and it seems to me that, you know, they're not doing anything with it. That we could work out some kind of deal with them where there'd be river access there. I mean, our master plan is to try to create linkages and make walks along the river. So you go from
No skin
there,
off their teeth.
what's that?
There's no skin off their teeth.
It's a mess,
Yeah.
it's a mess back, that whole.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
it's,
own it, they own it.
yes, they own it.
That's where the day workers hang out.
Well, they hang out near the, you know,
It's
closer
not
to the
Hess, it's
station.
Speedway.
Well,
Speedway.
anyway, it says Amaranda Hess in the,
Well, it is.
in the, you know, in
Everybody
your
knows
GIS
There was a-
tax data.
There were two guys out there smoking when I was at
Yeah.
the supermarket.
Well, the thing is, the Community Resource Center is still
Yeah.
closed.
Okay.
Because that's where they were, they used to be there.
Yeah.
And then they all got moved to the Community Resource Center, which has been closed for the flooding. So now they're popping up back over there again. God bless them. That's what I say.
think they're looking for work. River access, Christie, you looking?
Yeah.
Looking for river access?
Right, Christy? You wanna
Yeah, I
jump in
mean,
here?
Yeah, I hesitate to jump in without raising my hand, but essentially, you know, I think the public needs and deserves access to the waterways so that there's a little less fear and a little more knowledge as to how we try to, you know, the flooding as it impacts them and what things can they do individually. And it's also, it's an asset to the community. It would bring people here in the same way that the Bronx River Parkway is a gorgeous place to to move through the property along the riverways. And so the property from the Hillside Bridge ties all the way nearly to Columbus Park, with some private property in between, but it doesn't mean that the areas around Hillside Bridge could not be utilized as a secondary pocket park. And that essentially in the same manner that the Rockland Pocket potentially could tie into a pathway to the Bub Walker Park and the community gardens and carry on towards Columbus Park. This has the same potential with, again, some private property to be addressed in between, but has been completely underutilized and probably no intention to use. We could address them, you know, as a business, but I think, you know, the public, the Mamaroneck Village property at the very least should start being utilized for public access as a park along
And the
Hillside.
thing is, when nobody uses it like it is now, it degrades.
Yeah.
You know, it gets full of garbage and it's a mess, and it actually becomes a flooding problem.
Mm.
Because that whole area, there's vines, there's garbage, it's a mess.
But the other side of the river is, there's a park there, and we went back to clean it, so there's more access.
Okay, you're talking about on Willow?
Is it Warren?
Okay, Warren is north of on the other side of the highway. That's north.
Well, I think
Willow.
to go back to David Freeman's point, I think it will be it'll be time very soon to have a
Yeah.
committee for the environmental walk, the
Yes.
opportunities,
Yes.
daytime tour. Because it'll just make so much more sense when you're standing there looking at it.
So I just want to throw one more thing out there, which is that when Christy and I were out there wandering around, we saw this spot where when they were doing all that work on Hillside Avenue Bridge, they stored everything. And actually Dan Sarnoff's the one who pointed it out to us originally when we were doing this grant. It was full of stuff. The stuff is gone. Okay, everything's stripped. There's no vegetation. And it's not big, but it's just dirt. And by the way, you worry about silt. It's eroding and going into your river right there. So we would like to, Christy and I, grab that spot and do another Rockland Pocket on it. You know, get the tree committee, get some shrubs and, you know.
What's the name
How
of this
big is
place?
So this is it's small. It's the corner of Howard and Nostrand. Okay?
I'm sure people can't
that,
see.
you know, that parking lot I talked about. What's that parking lot?
Yeah.
But leave that for later, the parking lot.
So do you feel like though, because I know
Oh.
what the big ambitions, that something like this where you're saying that right now it's empty, would this be a priority?
Yeah, so
Something like that.
we're putting that to the top because that's a tiny little thing. It's village owned. It's in a really bad state environmentally. It's a problem. And it's also an opportunity because it's empty. Let's grab it. Let's fix it. Let's make it nice and make a little baby pocket park. Because there's nothing, the village owns it. There's nothing in that.
And it's just dirt. There's not even.
That's a hillside in Nostrand?
It's the corner of Nostrand and Howard, just down from the Hillside Avenue Bridge. And it's where the village was storing all the, equipment.
Where it's just.
It's,
The bridge contractor.
it doesn't really show on here very well. Okay, so,
I
so
have
we're
a
taking a lot of your
request.
time here.
If
Yes.
you would, after the meeting, do a
Yes.
doodle poll. Or somebody could do a doodle poll and figure out
Okay.
what a good time would be
Okay.
for,
I have to get
a
somebody to
walk.
help me.
well, somebody,
Andy will help me. do
yeah, I mean,
that. I'm not gonna do
let's
it.
within the next month.
Yeah,
Let's
find it.
have a,
Yeah, and I'll send you all this follow-up, so you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Can I just have one really quick question, Jerry? So when we were working with Dan back last year, he showed us landscaping plans for the bottom of the Hillside Avenue Bridge, which is village owned. Well, there's a driveway there now, and there's cars parked in it. So, I mean, what's happening? What's the story? Is that village land?
I think what you see is part village land, part. Private.
Okay. Okay, because when you look
see a
at,
rendering of landscape.
he showed me a diagram, yeah, with like forsythia bushes and all kinds of stuff.
That bridge, that contractor, that contractor killing.
I don't know, all
I'm not
right.
Sure what happened to that.
Well, it looked to, when you go to the tax maps, which may not be up to date, it looks like that whole piece of land is village land. And then I'm looking at a parking, a little driveway and a couple of cars,
So that
so.
White House on the corner, right?
Yeah, it's in a little across, it's right across from the Baptist church.
Yeah.
It's a new gravel grade that someone has put in.
The contractor put it in, Christie.
Uh,
Contractor put it in because they needed to restore.
Okay, and the neighbors are using it, but. you
No,
know,
I'm sorry, just to be clear, the gravel that is there now was not there upon the completion of the bridge. The bridge was completed and the grass was grass and there was nothing else there. And very recently, it's a brand new gravel grade driveway with a Jeep parked on it.
So we didn't put that gravel there.
No, you did not,
Okay.
to my knowledge, I mean, from the outside.
Yeah, it's just, that's
Do you want to
where,
landscape it?
yeah, why not? I mean, I don't know, it's public land. It shouldn't just be used for somebody's driveway.
How many of the pussy willows that will be the driveway?
All right.
okay, so
All
can,
right, move on. I've taken.
No, you-
Fine.
While we're on trees, so figuring
Yes.
out who owns what about that little lot on Rockland, so we could connect it like, a walk? That
Can't remember now. who
Billy, it's
owned
a
it.
lot on
Yeah,
Rockland
yeah, yeah.
Avenue, right near the
All right.
Metro North
We gotta
Bridge.
figure that
I
out.
don't know who owns it, but we're creating a pollinator pathway too.
Yeah.
Also a river pathway, but a pollinator pathway.
You know what I'm talking, it's like right by the bridge.
It has a lock on it with a chain link fence.
You
It
know
is
what I'm talking.
disgustingly messy. and
Where
it's
is this?
an eyesore. Um,
Park.
It's where I'm trying to get a sidewalk. On the Rockland Avenue Bridge going towards Sarah Newman. Okay. It's just a little lot. It's high up. I called Toyota and asked them if they own it
Yeah.
and they told me no.
I don't know how accurate your village stuff is, Jerry, but it's like registered to some corporation.
It's registered with Toyota and they
Oh,
told me
not in
no.
there, anyway.
I don't know.
So,
I looked on that map thing that you gave me
Right.
and I don't know who it belongs to, but it's such a sad situation. You can't even walk, the high school kid can't even walk there because there's no sidewalk. It's another issue, but it's just such a sad lot.
it would be a little spot to be pretty and,
Just a bench and someone can sit on there. I'm sure the people in the neighborhood might like it.
Did you ever reach back out to Sarah Newman? Did you?
Oh, that's on my.
where's the
agenda.
bridge? Show me the bridge. It goes over, okay, no, actually, I'll show you where it is. Okay, so I'm finished, sorry. to keep
okay,
you-
Sorry.
no, this is really important stuff.
Yeah,
That was my other dream.
okay,
too.
so everything's moving forward,
Good.
and I'm gonna do a lot of work at week before I go to the flood committee, because I really want to have all my ducks in a row.
So
And
to
then,
speak.
what's that?
So to
Yeah,
speak.
so, yeah, as it were. Because really the idea is there is to see, it's like when I saw that those drains in Bernie's backyard, it's like, this is not right, what. They need to, reconfigure some of these things and get some of this water out of our village.
Well, it's gonna be
The
in
throughway,
addition to helping
the throughway
with,
authority.
with
Oh,
open space, it's helping with flooding. So
What's
it's a
that?
win-win.
Just to work well.
yeah, well, there's just more water. Oh, yeah, and the other thing is, and
But I
you
gotta
know,
get that pipe replaced.
you know about this. Like, where Gedney Cemetery is? It's in the middle of one of those roundabouts.
Yeah.
If you get on 95 going north, it's right there. It's in the roundabout. The Thruway Authority has put, I don't know how many hundreds of tons of dirt. It's mounded up.
From Portchester.
Okay, it's a mountain of dirt that they have dumped there. Has a little bit of grass growing on it. It's like, are you serious? That can just go, the rivers are right there. It's like, this is major. And it's like, that should go. And then that whole thing should be landscaped. It should be absorbing water. But I think once we get all this together, we can make a really strong case to the Thruway Authority that they need to come in and make some investments and make their highway.
Well, they
better.
shouldn't be a nuisance.
Yeah, that they are a public nuisance at that.
Yeah,
Anyway,
shine some light on that.
so. there you
Okay,
go.
let's see, next,
Show me.
Jen.
I'll show you.
I can be very fast. I've just
Yeah.
been working on
Not too much.
updating the
Try to be fast. What do you-
DPW brochure and the composting that we all know
It's
about.
real.
So I'm just rewriting this to add pickup, and just
Can you pass it
updating
around?
the new one.
Oh, but that is.
I can update. I printed 2 copies of my edits.
So there's a current one that you are rewriting,
I'm just like reworking some of it, like
and
to
who
put
are
in
you working
pickup.
with, Dan or Robert or?
I've talked to Robert. He told me, I asked him about doing this. He told me to make the edits and send it to him. So I have like little, I put a photo of what I'm reworking and then. So, if anyone wants to read it. I need to spiff up my leave section. But I'm still working on that. So maybe by the end of the weekend, I'll be ready to
do that
like
together.
submit them to Robert. So
Okay.
I've done that. We have a composting class coming up at the library. And
When
that's
is it?
basically it. That's what I've been.
May
working on.
1. It was just, we
can't
just
wait.
posted it. It's May 1st.
Okay,
So
On the comment of the compost, which I know just changed over to the weekdays.
Yeah.
They took my compost this week and threw it in the garbage.
What do you
So
mean?
we have so much compost that it's not in a green bin, it's in a black bin with a huge "We Compost" sign on it. The same garbage people have been picking up my garbage for as long as I've been here. And the garbage is over here, the compost was over here, and they just took it and chucked it.
Really?
Sad.
So
What's
I
the
don't
address?
know if there needs to be some sort of education on,
No, it's no education.
so, or.
Convenience that they did.
Or is there larger, what do we do once we outgrow these small green compost bins?
My neighbor is in
So-
the same boat. She has like
It's-
5, 6 people in her family.
Maybe
and
that's
they leave,
something we
like,
might
2
want to
to
consider.
3 compost bins out.
I'm sorry. I was like.
So I know, I'm just thinking, but yeah, I
Yeah.
understand. What do you
Consider
do
what?
when they outgrow the tiny
Larger
bin?
compost bins, we,
Like the village to sell them or
Or just let people know where to get
Where
them.
to get
one or
I
the
don't know.
other, but if we need
Okay.
some sort of certified bin so that they don't throw my compost in the
sticker.
trash. I mean, and I'm obviously
I
somebody who.
do have some
sticker might be
stickers.
easier, right? to
Well,
make
put
it-
a sticker on the garbage bin
Is it the,
with a lid on it.
the Marinick sticker?
Yeah,
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it is the
Okay, that's
village.
all I've got.
compost.
maybe in the short
So,
term, you need to buy another bin, a small bin.
Yes. So,
Before we,
but it was a bummer in the first week that it kind of moved over, so.
We have a line item for new recycling bins because obviously we sell them and we replenish. So we could easily start to a small amount of larger bins for the recycling.
That would be amazing.
Okay, so
Great.
what's smaller?
you mean for compost?
Yeah.
What's for
Yeah,
compost?
you
It would
guys
have
call it
the
compost,
same
right?
like
I call
model as
it-
a recycling.
food
Okay.
scraps. Yes, but you're talking about that.
Mhm.
20.
I don't going on the 20th, like,
Your dog. Underneath the sink is 13 gallons, underneath the sink, the trash can under the sink is 13 gallons, so it'd be.
20 is great.
Be
Well,
great.
what's the one that is for sale now? I don't even know.
The
Oh,
outdoor green one with the lock
It is?
lids.
Oh, that's it's
Oh,
not good in comparison.
There's a 13, but it's a curb.
So that's a good, watch that wire, yeah.
Oh, but they might like the 13 because Robert from
Mhm,
the DPW
mhm.
said that they might complain about picking up the my size. He said they were gonna complain about it, so 13 might be the way to go.
Yeah, this is.
Yeah,
$55.
which was another thing is that I felt like Robert felt more
It
invested.
is heavy.
in
They
the-
are heavy. I mean, the food
Yeah,
stuff
so the
are wet
13
and
might
they're
be
heavy.
better, but I felt like he was more invested in
How many pounds
the
is that?
process.
How many gallons?
So 13, so 13 might be,
It's a regular, yeah, it's a regular.
The curbs,
Jerry,
but it's
Jerry,
bigger than the.
what
Yeah.
happens with the
Yeah.
compost? I've always
no,
wondered.
no, look at, if you.
It was,
it
yeah,
looks like
Happens with the
yeah, that's
compost.
exactly.
So is it like this
It
big?
goes to the side and then it's turned into.
Smaller than a garbage can, but bigger than what we're.
Sometimes we bring it back.
Does it have wheels on it?
Okay. So generally, it is available for village purposes. If we're
I mean.
putting down a new bed, we get the
I mean, it
compost.
seems like it would be heavy to pick up.
Oh,
Yeah. I
Yeah.
guess it's-
And my
The
one,
the lift cleanup, the compost is usually given away. Someone told us that we could also give it away in the fall, but we didn't offer it because we didn't know if that was, like, people wanted it in the fall. But
I would think so, because we're now trying to promote people planting in the fall.
Yeah, I guess, but it depends when we do the cleanup, because the litter cleanup, if it's too late in the fall, and no one really wants the compost,
Yeah.
the soil then.
The
But-
last thing in regards to the compost giveaway is what, do we want to consider? It's like last year we had compost left over, donating it.
I was
There-
thinking more like we might need it for
Oh,
Rockland
at
Pocket,
Rockland,
the
yeah.
Harbor
Yeah, I
Island
don't,
one,
I don't
like.
think there was.
Not
any
Rockland
left
Park.
We
over.
might
were
need it for some of these
trucking it
little
around,
activities.
Harbor Island for sure, because
Harbor
that's
Island, that
pretty
little
dried
garden that
out.
We started, it's just bad looking, and
Yeah.
the soil is a
Yeah,
rock
it
there, and
needs
it
it.
needs a lot of love.
And
I know
probably
it's
the
tiny, but
flagpole
we'll be
too,
digging that.
but not Rockland.
Rockland doesn't need compost, you don't
no.
think?
It's rich enough.
Yeah, that,
It's so rich that
yeah,
everything
in
grows
fact,
there.
it's
Yeah.
too rich. We were told we gotta,
Seriously?
yes,
Yeah.
I'll tell you about
Oh
that
my God.
separately,
Add
but
sand.
I don't know, but that's a whole top story, which I recently.
Oh, I was
acknowledged.
thinking, make sure that we keep some of
Last
it.
hours.
Yeah.
Okay.
Said you were gonna get new recycling bins, or are they gonna have lids?
Can we?
They have.
13-gallon food scrap.
No, I thought you were talking about recycling bins.
But I think.
Oh, no,
It's
that's.
a different topic.
That, before we go into recycling and other stuff,
Oh.
this DEC, the food waste reduction, you emailed this around. It's a grant, it's due. How, do you know how much food waste we haul a week? One of the,
Yeah, we have those now. I don't have it off the top of my head.
So-
Yeah.
in order to apply for this grant, we need to be hauling 1 ton of food waste per week.
No, we have,
Per week.
much more than that.
Much more?
You
You sent this around, maybe you can pass it up. I was just wondering if we could apply for that and like who, if we can, who does that? It's just for money for like the compost program,
Maybe
to
for free
offset
bins.
fees or
That'd
whatever.
be awesome.
For free bins.
Oh, that's actually, yeah, to give out bins to people.
Mhm.
Yeah, sign
Give them
up
out
for the
for
pickup
free,
and get
get
a
them
free
going.
bin.
Yeah.
Okay,
You can
Um,
keep that too, and I have a copy at home, if you wanna review it later,
Okay,
but the
Okay.
deadline is May 1st.
okay.
Okay.
That's exciting.
Address for the compost mistake.
What your
Where do
address?
you live? Oh, you're right.
Gosh, no, Colonial Court.
Thank you.
Oh my God, they're never gonna pick up my garbage again. Please don't get me in trouble.
Give them a-
The signage.
Good tip at Christmas
No,
time.
Signage around the village. about compost.
The guy who helped.
What are there, 2 big?
My list, I've come out and measured
Yeah.
them. I haven't come up with ideas yet, but I've just gotten their
Yeah.
sizes. It's also on my list of
I
things
mean,
to
the
do.
money's
No
a huge
problem.
issue, we could probably get a sticker.
Okay.
underneath it there.
What's that?
Moving
So we can
along.
Even have them printed out like one of these online printings. I'll get it together for next
You're
time.
talking about the banners, right, by the
Like
post
the-
office and by.
All those banners are so pathetic.
But there are
Every
only, how
time I
many,
go to the
there's
post
only
office, I
like
see that
two.
banner, I wanna cry, because it
Are they
doesn't say
two
we
in
picked
town?
up.
It's on my list of things to do.
I know.
I've got measurements and it's like, as soon as I finish the leaves, I'll write on it.
You have your homework. Cut out for you. Okay,
Outside.
comprehensive plan.
Next,
This weekend, you're not gonna be able to shake me. You'll be like glued.
okay.
So the comprehensive plan, the fourth edition, the fourth version is out.
Oh my
It's
God, I
massive.
started
I
to.
didn't read it yet, it's
Yeah.
overwhelming.
It's
They
overwhelming.
extended the deadline
It's wonderful.
for a week.
It has a lot of our collective input because the last version, particularly Mark and I worked with Neil and we put some stuff in there that it's now found its way into the fourth revision. So, you know, I think we as a committee have had a big impact on at least the sustainability section. It's really very good. The real problem with this, in addition to the fact that we only had like 3 weeks to review this, it was really massive and very, very, very meaty, is and Lou, I don't know if you had the same reaction to it, but it's like drinking from a fire hose. There's so much stuff in there. They have just in the sustainability section, there's 70 recommendations and they're not prioritized. So it's basically, this is all the wonderful things you could do, but you know, if you're faced with 70 things you could do, which 4 do you prioritize? So I'm thinking that would be a legitimate criticism, and the response from Neil would probably be, we just set out it's the politicians, it's the political process that decides the priorities. We can't do that. So that's a legitimate response, but it doesn't help us in terms of how we, and this is where I'm going with this, is we have to figure out, because this is really a path forward on a lot of the issues that we care about. We have our own strategic plan. This is another type of strategic plan. I'd like to see if we can figure out a way, rather than spending a lot of time commenting on this, to maybe get Neil in here to work with us, take a look and walk us through what he sees as the key takeaways, and see if we can put our strategic thinking in alignment with the plan. So at the end of the day, at the end of the year or whatever period we're looking at, we've actually made progress on the things the village is going to adopt as part of the comprehensive plan. I mean, does that strike you as a legitimate approach?
I regard that as a reference tool. I mean, I don't,
For who?
I don't know that.
Who's it a reference tool for? I'm just curious.
For the villages we go forward. I mean, it's, so we, you know, we keep in mind where we're headed. Where we'd like to head, but I don't know that there's more there than we can do, right?
Absolutely.
We can look at it, David, the way I asked the board of trustees to look at the capital plan. This massive list put together by department heads of needs and a couple of wants. And then we had our couple of meetings this past few months. The mayor and the board asked for the top 2 items that they wanted to prioritize at the top of the list this year, right? So we've got 9 department heads. Some of them didn't really have anything, but we had about 12, 14 items that we need to sure this year as part of the department head's plan to continue to keep the services at the level that we are. So you might want to take the list, have the group. I don't know if Neil is going to provide. You can certainly ask Neil to be here, but as far as helping you prioritize, it might be more effective for the group to prioritize off of that list. Maybe this year or every 3 years. This is something we want to do immediate. This is midterm. This is long term. Something along those lines. Taking that list and creating some kind of a a more,
Adjustable.
yeah, plan, more of a forward-thinking plan. Right, because we couldn't, I overwhelmed the board with the amount of capital items that we have to, but my staff knows what they need to keep going and what they need next year and what they need the year after that.
So why don't we do this? If people like this idea, why don't I invite Neil to one of our future meetings, it could be next month or the following month, and walk us through the comprehensive plan.
I would suggest that you all take a look at it first.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so you direct them to the parts you're interested in, or the parts that because it's really, he's given you a lot on the menu there, and I think it's up to you and the advising the board of trustees to prioritize what we
Is all of this in the purview of the committee?
No.
I didn't think so. So what's our?
Seven
special-
is the
Seven
big
is
one,
us.
is this sustainability, and
Okay,
then
thank you.
parks is 8. So those are the two big
That's
ones.
what we are.
I think of the
Okay.
chapters in there, those are probably the
That
most.
narrows it down a
Five
little
about
bit.
flood.
Well, there's flood, we
Landscape.
don't do as much flood
Yeah.
mitigation. There's some transportation things like bikeways and things.
Okay,
I
We
mean,
never
it's-
had a sustainability chapter. It's the
okay, so
first
that's a big
time.
deal. Okay.
First time.
And my critique of it would be, he mentions the 2030 goals under the Climate Act,
Right.
but doesn't actually then say you need to do this to meet that.
Well, probably it's a bit complicated though, that meeting those goals.
Well, he may not know.
Yeah.
I think he
Yeah.
talked to us.
It's-
He told him.
Right.
It's
I
a
think
wish
what Gary's
list,
saying, we should
not-
prioritize.
It's
I know.
not, it's
No.
not strategic. It's a wish
Yeah,
list.
yeah.
It hasn't been narrowed down. And I think you're right, that he can't narrow it down to us. We have to narrow it down.
Yeah.
But I think it'd be helpful at some point, maybe we should all look at this over the next month. And then,
Next week.
and yeah, actually, the comment period ends today, but I don't know how.
No, they extended it by a week.
Oh,
It's extended till next week.
Oh, great. But the reality is, it's really hard to comment on because this is so sprawling.
Yeah.
And at this point, we're the 4th draft. There really is, I think, and Lou, you can tell me, I think there's a lot. And Jerry, you can add your views. But I'm guessing that the board is really would like to move this forward. They don't want to have
Yeah.
another whole round of comments where they have to do another
No,
revision.
I think it gets finalized and approved sometime this summer,
Yeah.
early summer.
And that's
I don't think it goes past.
That's actually important for us too, because it's an important component to the climate smart
I mean,
communities.
as I read through it, what I'm looking for is there anything missing? That's my.
There's nothing missing. There's nothing missing. They thought of everything.
Now, I wonder, I mean, if you had the county has a sustainability director. If you, maybe we could invite him to join us maybe by Zoom when you discuss that part of it. And you can find out where
It's a good idea.
the 2 issues, where we met, because if we're off on something that doesn't mesh with what they're doing at the county. then-
Peter, what's his name?
Peter McCart. McCartt. I'll send you his
So,
contact.
I mean, that's, as you can tell, I'm struggling a little to figure out how we integrate. I think it's important to figure out how we integrate this, which is ultimately going to be the village's game plan into our priorities.
Well, a lot of those are,
A lot of them are stuff we're doing.
yeah, well, CEC and CSC actions anyway.
Yeah.
And he even sort of signals out.
I mean, I
what those
actually
ones are.
tracked what we're doing and what's
Yeah.
in there, and there's a very good correlation.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So I think
Which governs action, what we are trying to do or this? Is this sort of a broad-based blueprint? You could do these things and then we pick from the menu?
Some of them, there's a list of what we've done,
Right,
and then there's a list of goals for the
Right.
next whatever.
right, right.
And so,
I think the first thing everybody should take a look at it and really, look at that section. and
let's
then
plan
next
for the
week when we
next,
come
next
Yeah.
month, let's have everybody will have looked at least to some degree. By then we'll talk about
Yeah, because
what,
right
how
now.
we make this part of our DNA.
Should we
Yeah.
should we sort of start that via email? Because it's such a big
It's
sort
not
of
a bad idea.
sprawling topic.
We're gonna divide it up in sections or something.
Can we
I don't know.
divide it up
That?
in our subcommittee sections so that, just basically like decide what goes where and then stuff that's doesn't have a home, who's working on it? Like if it's not going to be us, if we're not going to initiate it, then who's working on those things?
Well, we're not gonna do all 70 of them. so-
Right, like if they don't have a home under our subcommittee, or if the village isn't gonna take it on, then who's really going to, then it doesn't belong on the list, right?
Or some of them are just, it's over time. It's like, a 2-year, 3-year plan.
Yeah.
Or
So
we
it's-
do-
I don't think we have to make a decision
Yeah.
today as to how we handle it. I think why don't we decide in the next month, our homework will be to read it.
We
And
might
then
put-
let's talk about it next month as to what we do with it.
Okay.
That's good.
So I'm gonna sound like an EPA agent because I worked at the EPA for a while.
Mhm.
Which is the cost benefit analysis they all do. You probably heard of this.
Yes.
Yes.
We heard of it.
Okie dokie. So has anybody done that of some of these ideas? Because I
No.
mean, I'm always
That's-
thinking, let's be real.
That's
There's
the
a pot of
point.
money somewhere and it's not infinite. and I don't even know where it sits.
It's bandwidth. The whole
How
issue
things
was
work,
bandwidth.
but as we all know, with every single EPA rule that's promulgated, the benefits way, way, way out. Shall we say, what's the word? Outsize, so to speak, the costs.
Yeah, no, we haven't done that.
But I mean, it's, to convince ourselves, or we can just do, dumb math, like what is the benefit here? And it's usually a number of people who are happier, a number of dogs and natives. I mean, I'm not kidding here. It's that element, all of which has value, or else we wouldn't be sitting here. So we could do a rough and tumble kind of figuring out where do we think there's the biggest bang for the buck? And then that's part of a criteria by which we go through this big document.
Well, a lot of the stuff is not directly relevant. So there are a
Sure.
number of chapters that deal
Well, so
with
if,
housing and stuff like that are
right,
not really in our bailiwick.
is there like the master list of things that are on the table for us in here?
We have,
Having a hard time finding
you
it.
take a look at our agenda,
Yeah,
you take a look at, this is something I've put together and going to keep updated, is action items.
mhm,
And then each of the committees has a strategic plan,
right.
which I don't think we actually ever put together as a packet for people, but maybe we should do that.
And so we would cross-reference like you did, the strategic plan with what these guys,
do
or
that
this
If you wanted
thing
to,
is proposing.
I did it in my head, but you could do that.
Is there a fair amount of overlap? You optimistic?
Oh, no, I think everything we're doing is in there.
That's great.
They have some things in there that are not things we're doing. But I think there's a lot of, and partly because we worked on the sustainability chapter with Neil,
Mm,
that there's a lot of congruence. So,
Did he generate those ideas primarily, apart from your work, from the survey also? They surveyed everybody in the village, so.
yeah, he surveyed
so
the
they
village,
kind
that
of
was,
Did their
he took
priorities
that. And of
that
course, the
way.
other thing that happened since he did the last draft is the CLCPA, which is a whole new state set
What is that
apart.
again?
Community leadership and climate leadership and community protection act.
Oh,
It's the big new climate act that was passed a couple of years ago.
That's the one that says by 2030, we have to have reduced emissions by so.
Public education, Mandy, you and Chris.
Sure. I sent an emails with the registration for the Mamaroneck Community Cleanup, which is formerly Clean and Green. I
keep
changed
calling it that.
I know,
All
I
right.
know. I call it that in my head and on my desktop and everything, but we're trying to rebrand it. Community, we like that word. But anyway, so if anyone wants to sign up, I think a few people did. If anyone wants to be a team captain here, it would be important for us, since we're all going to be walking from A to point B. I feel like we have the advantage this year to literally say, oh, hi, 5 teenagers. Do you see that gentleman over there? He's your team captain. Go stand near him and you're gonna leave when he leaves. Because as we know, we do have a lot of teenagers who come from the high school, and it's great that they want their volunteer hours, but they need direction. And this year we'll actually be able to walk places with them. So if anyone wants to sign up, please do. With that being said, I was talking to Christy the other day and she was talking about t-shirts. So I randomly wrote Ink It Up. Anyone know them? I asked them if they wanted to sponsor t-shirts and put their logo on the back. And so she wrote me back saying, sure, let's talk. So, because I don't want to pay for them, but maybe we'll just get
That would be a great party folder.
well, no, not for everyone. I said our team captains and our committee. I was thinking,
Okay,
you know, not such a big ask because I don't know who they are. But at least that would give us some unity and people would see
but
who we
also
are.
people would see who the
Which I think is
captains
fair.
are.
Yes, because Christy was saying we should put some nice big vests on the team captain, like those, what are those called? The safety vests?
Safety belts.
Yeah, well, we were talking about that and then it tumbled into t-shirts. So if we could do the t-shirts, then it would help.
Well, the
us
t-shirts are
direct
something
people.
that people could actually wear after the
Again,
event.
yeah, so I'm gonna start small and just maybe start for like 2 dozen, at least for like our interior circle or anyone who's involved in us. So I will let you know if that turns out, but I don't know, maybe a t-shirt that we could wear again at other events. So maybe with our logo and something else, I don't know, we'll see. So that's one, so that's t-shirt, so please sign up. I'm gonna send it to Robert soon.
Where'd you sign up?
I sent an email out. We send the link to everyone if you guys want, just pick a place.
April 29th, right?
Yes, and the rain date is the following Saturday, because that is when the shredder can be there too.
I'll, what,
Want to captain somebody?
Sure, yeah.
Cool. You have you have an area that you really
I'd
love.
like to do Phillips Park.
Do I have that on here?
I don't know, is it? on here?
Well, Phillips
it-
Park hardly exists anymore because when they built the new apartments, they took out the tables.
Well, it's that section that runs along the river.
Yeah, you can do it with me, Lou, because I already signed up.
I walked it yesterday and I said, this needs to be cleaned up.
It does. There's many areas of need, and I didn't mean to jump in. I'm sorry, but since I already have a moment, I think it's not just a please sign up. It's actually, yes, if you're on the committee, we'd love for you to be ahead and help communicate with people. So pick a section, and Lou, we can do it together. It's a big section because it goes all the way to Ward Park.
Sure, okay.
And Christy, just so you, well, so everyone knows, actually, the Rhinebeck, the elementary school parade, spring event is at noon that day. So at the Rhinebeck Elementary School, so it starts at noon, but it might.
We start at 9:30, so
Yeah.
I mean, it won't be terrible, but yeah, it might have a little bit.
Mandy, do you have Columbus Park on there? Is it,
Yeah.
along,
I think that's
along the rivers there where I was today, it is there's so much garbage.
Yeah,
So
and I
maybe
have,
like, maybe make like,
I have a lot of
river,
people.
in the
or-
water crew.
Well, in the water waiters or something, we can't just stick.
But that's what
people
I'm
on.
saying is have like a very specific. If you're signing up for this, you must be. coming
Columbus
in.
Park.
I'll
would
go in the
have-
river.
But that's what I'm saying, is it people who
You don't
have.
have to
So
go in the
Mandy,
river,
like
but
six
the
You
bank.
can sign me up for whatever. I have no preference.
I'm worried about you. It's, you know,
So everybody should be elite if they're gonna be around that day.
Like,
I
usually write, yeah, I usually write
Weekend
well,
was it?
Ellen used to, and so now I'm going to just write the.
Yeah, that's your
our little
home
contacts and
there.
say, hey, here's a sign
It's
up, like last year at the.
29th.
29th, yeah.
What's the day?
29th,
April 29th?
the last Saturday, Saturday in April.
And also Rhinebeck and Merrimack, so, yeah. so we can high school kids.
Did you divide by rivers?
It's like strangers.
Yes,
the
we were talking about
Instagram.
doing that last time.
Yeah.
I gotta get the high school kids.
Did
into
you,
it, though.
did you put in sections of the river?
We did things that were walkable from Columbus Park. Christy's gonna come up with like 1 or 2 bullet
Was it
points
April
of where
29th?
each team leader is really supposed to go.
But like
I
within the
named
park,
them.
but within the
I'm out
park,
of town.
Within what part?
What?
Columbus Park?
I'm out of town.
Oh, I don't know.
because the rivers are, within the park.
The
and
Sheldrake side. and the
Sheldrake
Merrimack
and the
side.
Merrimack Rivers.
I'm thinking that whoever that captain is will have to coordinate with Christy, who ideas of where things should be cleaned. I think you're are you captaining?
I assumed it
was the train
station.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
Columbus Park and
Yeah.
train station. But I don't know how many people we need there. We should probably figure that out.
Because the
I think
rivers
it's
are really,
16.
I've done the rivers a lot. I've done the Sheldrake, and I think Christie's focused usually on Merrimack. And they are, there's tons of garbage in there, like just along the rivers
At
and
Columbus
in the,
Park?
yeah,
Columbus
Yeah,
Park,
yeah.
okay,
yeah.
got it.
And so they need crews on on the rivers sections, actually.
Do we actually have like, yeah, are we able to make like little map, even just?
Yeah,
Let's
I
see.
think by the next, what is this? This is March, April. Oh, so yeah, soon. We'll probably, before our next meeting, we'll need to circulate a map then.
Yeah,
And
I'm
even
not-
then
Points and area, which I'll try to work on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
she's definitely
just-
on the map. girl.
Just let's pay attention to the time. We have about a half an hour left,
Okay.
and you haven't finished your agenda.
No, so that's it. So sign up if you can, maybe t-shirts. I can't think of anything else for that right now. Could we just talk briefly? Does anybody want to come to the Central Elementary Earth Day mini fair? It's April 21st at 3. It's tiny. I'm going to try to come there. I don't know if Jen, if you're available. What? It's like the mini Earth Day fair.
What time?
It's at 3. It's tiny.
I can't.
I just thought I'd ask, because then we can maybe sell the flowers, little things there.
Oh, the little guys?
Yeah,
I might be able to.
What, okay, and then the library thing is the 20.
yes, that's the next on my list is there's been so much talk about this centennial thing now.
22nd, right?
Yes, now our table has expanded. Now people are going to be selling compost bins and talking about the energy smart homes, which is wonderful, but let's not forget that the Larchmont Earth Day celebration is that afternoon. So I don't want us all to show up in the morning and then and no one is committed to the afternoon.
I'm gonna go over the afternoon.
You can do afternoon,
What day is that, Mandy?
22nd.
22nd, because,
I don't know that I'll do anything other than be there, but
no, I just plan on, I
Just make an
spoke
appearance.
to, I forget what her name
Wait,
is, we had a call.
Doing a color.
Yeah, just coloring butterflies, giving out seeds. We're just spreading love at Larchmont. Really, we're just supporting them. And I told her she's gonna put us next to Kyle at the Marine Center. She's also going to be there.
Yeah.
So we're really just there to support Village of Mamaroneck. Here we are, because everyone who attends is not from Larchmont there, so
Yeah.
they'll be with little kids, so.
We're
Anyway,
doing that tree plant.
Library,
The
Centennial.
centennial tree planting.
yeah, that, because I think a lot of the committee might be at the library one, but I don't want to forget about the afternoon one, because I can't stand it there by myself.
You're going to the afternoon or morning or both?
I don't know. I don't know, because I also feel like with me comes like little brochures and seeds, and so we just have to decide who's gonna be in charge. Maybe I'll do the afternoon and if someone in the morning, I don't know. Realistically, I'm gonna show up and say hello. basically.
Well, we'll take your lead as to
Yeah, that's what
who
she's saying.
is
Okay.
doing what. Just let us know.
I
what
guess
you
I
want.
just need a list of who actually is available that day. That's all.
So, yeah.
Andy, what
me,
time on,
Jen and Liam are
at the library?
on, but I think.
The library starts at 11 a.m. It's not, we're calling it the library, but it's really at Harbor Island Park.
Orienta side.
Yeah, it's over.
Orienta.
The
Yes,
west bay.
exactly, that little playgroundish area.
So you should
That's
send
fine.
after the meeting. After the meeting, why don't you send an email to everybody on the committee and asking them to get back to you as to
Right.
whether they'll be there, then you can assign them things.
Okay.
Then you know the playground on the Orienta side, that's where the tree plantings go.
Okay.
Yeah,
And that's a library event?
yeah, it's
It
a
is.
centennial tree.
Do you think we have enough tiny plants for both? Like,
It depends if we sell out. I don't know. We're fundraising. Okay, my last thought, I wrote to Sarah Newman. Does anyone know what Sarah Newman is? The Jewish home? Okay.
I'm on the board of the parent organization, so if you need contact information.
There you go.
They were quite lovely. I am about connecting the pollinator pathway now that we have Rockland Pocket Park, because even though my house is there and I have tons of flowers, that neighborhood is like a blow everyone away because Larchmont, what is that, acres or no?
Palmer,
Yes, that one that blow it to oblivion and they blow Sarah Newman to oblivion. I don't know how anything lives in that area. So I wrote them and I just said, hey, I volunteer for the committee. We helped you plan a butterfly. I called it a butterfly garden because that always sounds better. For your residents to enjoy, we could help plan it. We could help select plants, not pay for them, and we could potentially help install it. We can get volunteers. I can get little high school girls, whatever. We'll even give them some seeds, whatever.
Yeah, they should love that. Give them a
Yes,
t-shirt.
and a very positive response and a very long list of times that they wanted. And if anyone would like to come along on this project, I would love for someone to come.
Oh, that's
to a meeting
So,
with us.
so actually, I would go to a meeting.
Hey, good.
which
I
would-
have
Would probably help with
1, 2,
management.
4, 5.
Yeah.
I have like 5 or 6 options they gave me and they gave me, I wanted to come to the meeting first. They gave me suggestions for this week, but I said, can you give me some for the following? And they copied their director of plant operations. Which is funny because they don't have plants. They blow everything over and they plant tulips.
The plant,
And
okay,
It's the
plant,
plan,
almost
the
the
building
physical
itself,
plant.
Yeah.
But this is the director of therapeutic recreation and.
Oh,
that's
awesome.
Oh, that sounds better.
So anyway, I don't
I
know.
go watch
Let me know,
that.
let me know when the meeting happens, if I can go.
I honestly, I'll pick some times and I'll send it. Whoever would like to come.
You got me.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't want to overwhelm them and have 50 of us come, but the more the better, because I feel like if we could just get a garden there, I want everyone else to be jealous and be like, why don't we have one of these? I just feel like. we need to-
Visible from Palmer
Right.
too, you
This
know.
is education. This
Yeah,
is how I.
it's also intergenerational because you're gonna get young people in there
Mm.
and they love young people coming in and
Right.
mixing with the older residents. Is a plus for
It's a
them.
great idea.
I agree. Anyway, so,
Are you talking about painting the bridge today?
oh, I didn't bring that up because no one wrote me back and I didn't.
I love the idea.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, anyway, I'm sure you read, but according to Senator Shelley Mayer's office, the MTA is only responsible. I complained about graffiti on the bridge for the past year of Rockland Avenue. And apparently they are only responsible, MTA is only responsible for the structural support of the bridge. But it took me a full year and a senator to figure that out, but whatever. So if we can actually paint this bridge over, I would like to also put some kind of mural to enhance the idea. We're showing Rockland Pocket is down the street. And then if we get a garden at Sarah Newman, we have like a whole feeling. If we
be
can get that
amazing.
lot near Toyota, that would
We
be
gotta work on
amazing
that.
too.
So can we connect the committee for the environment with the Arts Council so that we can get this done?
Yes, we talked to them about a monarch mural last year, but we just didn't have enough to do it.
They've
But
been busy. Did you see the poetry letters out
I
there?
did see it.
So they've been busy doing that, but they're looking for another project.
Oh, I will talk to Marina. That would be
Please,
wonderful.
yeah.
They were a
She's
little,
lovely.
they weren't so crazy about doing the murals. They don't make the
Maybe now that we
murals.
actually have a spot and
There's a
it won't be
connection
so
there
much
now.
work, and then we actually have a park that's
Yeah.
brand new. There might be some, you know.
So
speed
we'll
going
help.
on.
We have baking soda sandblasters. We have things of that nature to be able to do stuff like that. So with that,
Okay,
okay, so we'll help with that.
That's
And the
cool.
one other thing I wanted to say is, we have a staff person this year at the shredder.
oh, lovely.
Okay, so you don't need a volunteer
That's
with big
helpful.
muscles. We have a employee with big muscles to do that for us.
Good,
And we
thank
talked
you.
about the MTA, in New Rochelle,
I got
when you
the
come out of
story.
when you come out of where you go to Costco,
Mhm.
you go to the left and that trestle there, that wall, where, Boston Post Road goes underneath the had been plagued with graffiti for years, and the MTA painted over all the time. But there was a section there that wasn't theirs, and I happen to know the guy who was responsible for it, and they would fine him if he didn't clean it. Well, somebody showed up and did a lovely mural there, and I never found out who did it. It says New Rochelle, right? And the graffiti stopped because it was already painted. So that's, I think, what you're hoping for
We
there.
can do that
I-
project this summer.
Anything, yeah, I really would hope. I mean, honestly, you can involve Sarah Newman because I feel like they'll have a little garden, there'll be flowers, a butterfly on a bridge. It's just, there's things happening there. So,
Great. All
anyway,
right.
thank you for saying that.
Okay, we've gone through
Can I
at
just,
least the first third of the
can I
agenda.
just, well, zipping down to my item, which is way down someplace, I'm wondering about moving the energy smart homes up into public education, because I really could use your
Okay.
help.
Okay,
Okay, so can I talk about that now then?
yeah.
Sure.
I-
Go ahead. I'm changing you out of order.
what you sent, and
I'm
I
sorry,
looked at
I'll
it.
move it up in the minutes.
It's public education, you're right.
Yeah, because I'm sort of struggling with it, to be perfectly honest. I sent some people, not everybody, the Sustainable Westchester's list of possible blurbs you can use in advertising and promotional things. The first thing I wanted to do was I wanted to have something in the newsletter, but Robert had a lot of questions for me. I tried to answer his questions, but I haven't heard back from him. I don't know if he was working today.
It was.
So I need to get,
What kind of questions you're asking?
I wasn't asking him. I just want something in the newsletter. I sent him a little thing I wanted to be put in the newsletter.
Okay, so draft comes out on Thursday. I'll check to see if he had something
Okay.
written up. Typically he'll write it up, send it.
I mean, I wrote, it was all written.
It just has to be included.
Yeah, but I guess he had a lot of questions about it. Maybe he didn't really know about it. I suppose I should have been more forthcoming with information for him, whatever. Anyway, so that's the first thing. We just have to get this campaign announced.
Okay.
So that's, and
So
then
on Thursday to see if I have it in the draft.
I'll send it, I send it to you. I did include you in the,
Yeah, but I don't know if he's working on it or not.
yeah, okay.
Right.
Should I send it again?
Well, no, I'll talk to him tomorrow morning about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else do we need to do, Debbie, to help?
Well, we just need to get the word out wherever we can, and I want to put stuff onto our Instagram.
Okay,
And I'm gonna be going to these various events, and I have some flyers. I want to put it, I would talk to other people about putting it in their social media, CRC, for example, Washington Alliance.
did you try that, what are they called? How the houses of worship green folks, you need to talk to them. Ellen knew them.
I don't know who it is.
But it's like Larchmont Temple.
Yeah, I have the
It's
information.
like a circle of
Half.
all houses of worship,
Oh, yeah.
and it's green related. They had an event not too long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had
I saved
something
all
at the
that.
Larchmont
Yeah.
Temple. Yeah,
We went to- Yeah,
the
yeah,
green building
Oh,
one.
okay.
right.
But whoever that is, that would be a good place to advertise something like that as well. Not advertise, but to get the word out.
yeah. So maybe we can talk a little bit
Yeah.
more about what else we can do.
Did we talk about maybe putting it in the library? On their bulletin board?
Yeah, I
and
will, I'm gonna do
also-
that, yeah. And what I want to do is I want to organize an event at the library later on, maybe in the fall.
Get on their
or the
calendar
summer.
soon,
Yeah, I got to talk to them about that.
Mary. We could
So Debbie, this is done. You answered all his questions. He's ready.
Okay.
I'll follow up tomorrow morning. Good. I'm just looking at it now again. You answered all the questions. Yeah.
So, quickly, I don't know that we have time to talk very much about the leaf blower ban restriction, but somebody raised that as something we should be thinking about doing. Maybe it was Dan, you?
With me.
Was you?
I'm not a fan.
So I'm trying to remember. Somebody sent me an email.
I sent an email that
I
mentioned it.
execute policy. I don't suggest policy.
Okay, but somebody sent me an email saying, we
It
should-
had come up again on Nextdoor, but I thought we had
Yeah,
started
that's
off
what-
this
that's what it
session
was.
saying that we were exhausted by the
That's-
conversation.
Is it in place when you were living in Larchmont?
No, actually, someone sent an email.
Yeah, I think it was only in the last year.
Yeah, I didn't answer it because I was gonna answer it and then no one said, go ahead and answer it.
so, oh, you were gonna answer it
Yeah,
substantively, and I said, why don't we just put it on the agenda? Is this something we want to tackle?
Is it banning them outright?
Well, it's a question.
I think
No,
the
I-
only, thing
Did-
that we, and which was to my, Mayor Murphy posted this on Facebook, but unless there's like no enforcement, I feel like for
That's
us, like education, we can like, it's
Yeah.
exhausting if there's no support
but
from
but
enforcement.
the
There's
entire
100 violations a year.
That's it, because there's probably 100 on my block alone.
There's 100 violations that we issue a year in Larchmont, and I only know this because
In
there's a police-
Larchmont?
in Larchmont, the police are actually dispatched as a crime to go to the blowers.
They have
So-
nothing else to do.
The neighbor, so that's a point, right?
Yeah.
But the neighbors call, it goes to dispatch issues, because the radio's on in my office all the time,
Mm.
and they send out a police officer to that location.
and they ticket them.
You pick it up. And it's,
I
it's,
called once and no one came.
right, so
Well, we were doing that a couple of years ago, correct?
we were, and Charlotte was driving around, and now we have code enforcement that does that. But want to get to that level, like Larchmont, we can talk to the about that. But if you put a full,
That's what I'm saying is I don't think we should go for the full ban. I think that enforcing what we have on the books now is like way bigger.
so let's talk about electric.
So we
Well,
are
elections-
actually we have a program. It's been, we have to talk about where that is, but the program to have people swap out gas for electric. And we have $5,000, which is sitting somewhere waiting for the
Somewhere.
program to start
With Foley's.
with Foley's. Is it Foley's?
Yeah.
Now,
Foley's.
wait a second, is that for the homeowner or the gardening code? Because the
Either.
gardening code, that's the problem.
I thought it
No, it's the homeowner.
So the so the gardening code shows up,
Conversations.
and, oh, it's not the gardening
No, the
companies?
swap out is homeowners, the ban is more like.
Because I mean, yeah, okay.
Can I
Yeah,
just say,
it's
I
kind
think
of two things.
this is really very political, you know?
Yeah.
And, we put a ban in, it's the environmental committee, we're gonna draw a lot of heat. So is that where you wanna,
Well, there technically is a ban. There is a ban.
right?
We didn't
Okay.
put it
Summer
in, none
months.
of us put it in. It
No,
was
there
the-
is a ban during the summer months,
we can just
even
make
for
one.
electric,
Okay, yeah,
May
no,
15
but,
to October
right, even
15.
electric or ban.
The ban
So-
is May 15, October 15 for gas and electric.
okay.
So what you're doing is you're gonna ask people to trade in their gas stuff for $100. It's $100,
You
right?
get $100
Right.
toward
For
a purchase of an electric.
course of electric.
As a homeowner.
Yeah,
as a
Yeah.
homeowner.
the goal is to, get 50 trade-ins.
And I don't think you even care if it's a homeowner. It could
I was
be-
gonna say homeowners, I do not see, we're the only homeowner on the block with a kid mowing the lawn, to be really frank. I mean, honestly, or
No,
even
but
blowing stuff
My
around.
neighborhood is different.
That's what
Yeah.
we're
Yeah, I don't think we should be supporting a commercial enterprise by giving them money. I think we should
Yeah.
prioritize getting them to homeowners. If we have,
Yeah.
we have
And-
money
and-
sitting in the
and-
bank at the end, maybe,
We'd give them like a voucher, right? We'd give them a
Yeah.
voucher
well,
and what's the hardware store in the flats? K.
No, we won't do it there. We'll do it at Foley's. Foley's is good. Should they,
Well, they
Ellen-
have the stuff over there. I wouldn't.
I think Ellen kind of set it up with Foley's. So that they would have a larger supply of electric. I thought,
All right.
I don't know.
Foley's is a-
we can check.
Yeah,
okay,
Foley's is a large amount.
I know.
but I mean,
We
there's-
don't have one.
We have a store right in the flats. It's in.
Oh, right.
Well, the money hasn't been committed yet, so I guess.
So
Have an ace.
I have
It's out there.
my status list.
I went in there and asked. He
You have
said,
an action
we only
item.
carry,
You have
So-
an action item.
So it says
they don't even have
What I
gas.
have
power.
is BOT's
KRB
approved
is-
principle
Yeah,
with village manager's office, Dan will speak to
Pretty
you.
cool.
So I don't know.
So,
What's the
so,
status?
so
It's in the village. Why
we
would-
haven't presented it on the work session yet. The
Yeah.
Larchmont ban, we're talking about the Larchmont ban.
No, we're talking about the blowback, the
Oh,
buyback.
well, that's fine. We'll put that on the work session. That'll
I
be
thought
fine.
that's been approved.
It is approved. We don't need to worry about it.
Anybody.
Okay, so but the question was, how do we now implement?
Everybody
it?
drives
Now it's been
down
approved.
there. I roll
So-
over and smell them.
I'll talk to Ellen tomorrow.
Okay.
Email her, see if she has an arrangement with Foley. I don't want to.
Okay.
Mess that up.
Who,
Ellen Silver.
Ellen
Yeah.
Silver?
I don't know.
If
that we-
she, if
I
she
don't think we got that far.
may have been thinking,
No,
if not, we'll
she
use
got a
KRB.
little car, I
She
think.
did.
Yeah,
I don't
think that
know.
She did.
So I'm hesitant because we may have, Ellen may have promised Foley that we're going to do this program with them, but Let's see what KRB says.
If you give them a voucher and they can take it where they want,
Yeah, there you go.
if they accept the voucher, then we'll give whoever gives us the voucher the money.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be.
It can be two vendors. That's
One
better.
here, one there.
Yeah.
I'll talk to Ellen about
Our
it.
new,
Wasn't there an issue of
new aids,
how it's gonna be implemented?
We can do that. I can handle that through the clerk treasurer's office.
Okay, fine.
But there was an issue also of when they turn the stuff in, where's it gonna go? Is it going
Does
to
anyone
dumpster?
Right, does to be the bins,
I don't
yes.
think we can control it.
Yeah,
You've
that's
done
the
everything you need
whole
to do.
thing. Otherwise, they just give
Yeah.
me so.
Oh, yeah,
we can,
maybe, I don't know what the
I'll
issue.
handle it.
There was a whole issue of having it
Yeah.
put in some sort of.
So
As far as where, that's a good point, but I don't know. I mean, where are they gonna go? They're probably gonna
What would you do with?
what they're gonna do.
They scrap metal. When
Scrap-
Ellen was talking about it, she said that they usually come with like a dumpster
Oh, and they'll scrap it.
and they
Yeah.
scrap a lot of it. And the dumpster has like a lock. I think she talked to the folks who did it in Bedford or wherever they held it.
Mhm.
And it was like over the course of a weekend and they had a lock on the dumpster so no one would steal it and whatever. I was thinking we could do it at Rockland Park, shine some light on Rockland Park
Yeah.
and put the dumpster over in the back
Right,
area.
maybe.
Because, on the weekends, that area is dead anyway. That's what I was
Who
thinking.
picks up metal stuff if you've got metal stuff in it? Yeah.
We
like
do.
you- What?
We do.
Okay, because I know in Larchmont,
Or you bring
for
it
some
to
reason, the
the,
transportation department came and got it.
Yeah, no, we do it. Our DPW will do it.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're gonna
Settle
talk to
the
Ellen and then you're gonna start implementing her over that.
Yeah, do you wanna do it at Rockland? I could do it at DPW.
Or where, whatever is easier for people to get to that they know, I don't.
But to give us a lower, we give them a voucher.
I
Give
think
us a-
that way to
give
do
them-
it.
yeah, so then we're not
I think
messing around
we
with it.
plan.
DPW can just put it somewhere.
Right,
And I'll arrange for.
That's
the
where it's
two
gonna end up
entities or one
anyway, right?
entity. As
Yeah.
many vouchers as they give me, I'm going to give them $100 per voucher. I just write them a check and send it to them. We
Okay,
have the money in the bank already. We have the money set aside.
Okay,
It'll be
Okay.
easy. That's fine.
That's.
so we're gonna try and do this before,
Yeah, but do it right around the April.
Yeah.
What is it called?
community cleanup.
cleanup.
Community cleanup.
Yeah,
day. Yeah, that's-
I know, it'll take a while to say
I
that.
almost said it.
Okay. Draft New York State Solid Waste Management Plan. You took a look at it.
I did take a look at it and I emailed everyone.
Yes, and
And I
so,
don't want to use any more time.
Okay, fine.
Otherwise, pretty good.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you
I
for looking at it.
that.
Yeah,
save us some brain damage.
Nice. A comprehensive plan, the way.
yeah.
New York State Green Purchasing Communities Program,
Say it again.
the Green Purchasing Communities Program, which I think,
With the state or the
Right.
county?
no, with the state. Remember I think the board passed it or,
Yeah,
and
on the resolution, right?
it passed the resolution. Let's see what I have here.
So. met with our-
We passed a resolution and then it went to the board. I think the board talked about it in a work session and liked the idea. But I think then referred it to either you or village. There was some issue about whether there were some inconsistencies. No, that was thinking.
Yeah, that was something else. So
Yeah.
we met with our cleaning vendor,
Okay,
okay, to switch over to green product.
Right.
On the state contract to the
Okay.
New York State. program. We
Okay.
just did that last week.
okay,
We had some issues with the cleaning company. We took the opportunity to do that. The county also has the availability for us to do green purchasing. But it's typically, like, we don't have, like, we're not purchasing green stuff other than it's cleaning supplies,
What
right?
about the garbage bags that we use at the,
well, there are 87 or 88 items on this green purchasing list, and it's not just cleaning supplies. So that's,
like the plastic gloves and the plastic bags that we use at the litter cleanup? Wouldn't it be cool if they were like
By
an
the
item?
label.
I don't
But-
know if
but-
it'll hold it, but we could.
so, but it's a very well organized program. There's specific things that the state has vetted as being appropriate and usable and effective and not that much more expensive, if at all more expensive. So
Yeah.
it's a very discrete program with
It
certain
would be
things that you
cool if
can.
some of the garbage bags, if we could get that, that would be like a good point to talk about.
I can give you a monthly update of items that we've switched over from our regular vendor to the state green vendor.
Okay, but is my recollection correct that the board has actually passed that as a policy?
I can't remember.
I don't remember. Either. I'm sorry. I don't think so.
I can't remember that.
I don't
And
specifically.
I remember we passed a resolution here. We sent it up to the board. I'm not 100% sure what happened.
Yeah, if it didn't get passed, we don't vote on things in the work session.
Hmm.
So I don't remember it in the
I don't remember.
It's a
this
pretty
one.
straightforward.
yeah. I think we
Ask.
talked about it in a work session. Maybe we talked about it. I don't.
Can
I don't
can
recall. I don't
somebody
think- I don't
figure
think
out
it-
where that stands?
Yeah, and if we did pass a resolution, it was only probably to get the CSC points. The climate smart points. I don't know why we would move that if it was just a policy decision. And I'm thinking it may have ended up in, why do we need a resolution? Let's just start doing that. For some reason, I think that just sticks out. But I can look. And
Okay.
Sally will research it in seconds and find it.
I'll take a look at my notes too.
Can I just go back to the leaf blower ban for one sec?
Sure.
So I think 2 summers ago, you guys put little,
Right.
what do you call those things? Yes. And it made a marked difference
Really?
in my neighborhood.
Really?
Yes. So I was like, this is fantastic, because I was on the Larchmont Environmental Committee. We're trying to get the thing working better. This is pre-ban and all that stuff. So to your point on enforcement and whatever, I have a feeling doing that again. Last summer, it hasn't been as bad. So it's better in my neighborhood. I don't know how it's going around where you guys are, but to me, having those door, whatever the hell tags, whatever you call
Door
it.
hanger.
Thank you. Was super helpful
That's
because
the
it was
fourth of
in.
I
September.
also, like, I went to my gardener, I said, oh, they dropped this off, and I know that the guys are coming around to like enforce it.
It's right there and the homeowner has it in their face and you can't ignore it because it's on your door. So I could, if I can put a plea, if we're worried about enforcement and keeping people, complying, put those out again. I know it's, you gotta print.
Were those put out?
2
DPW?
years ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Who did it?
Liam wrote.
Oh, Liam
wrote
made
it.
it. He
No, I
signed
just
it.
designed it.
Who
Someone
delivers
did the,
Yeah.
We had parks.
Yeah.
We had park staff in the lull go out there and put them out there.
Oh, I
And do
see.
it before us. So if I can
Park-
only put a plea in,
recreation,
do
sorry,
that
recreation.
again,
Recreation, okay.
highly, highly.
We have some, it
Yeah.
won't take us long.
Oh,
I
awesome.
mean, it's gotta be the
I think we should
fourth or fifth
rework
time I've
it.
heard somebody say that it really helped.
Yes.
Rework it.
I'm just thinking, don't you think it would be beneficial to rework it? I don't remember what it says anymore, but I feel like there might be some
was-
leave.
Oh, the leave the
situation
leave.
it was
there
the
that
leaf
could help.
band front and the leaves on the back.
I feel like we should rework the thing a little bit because
Okay.
the village is also going to start a leave the leaves, right? So we should talk about that.
Well, why can't we put it on one, on the front?
We can. I just think that the one we
It's-
have should be
We don't-
rewritten a
we
little
only
bit.
have a couple of hundred left. We don't
Okay,
have a lot left.
okay, so rewriting it would be
And we put
beneficial.
But
because
don't
leave
put
the
too many
leaves
words
is like
on
a
it, you know?
Thing happening, right? Like with the village is supporting that now.
Yeah.
Was
don't-
pretty weird.
You know,
That.
ban, fine, there was a fine.
Well, it was
and I think-
edited by committee, so.
Wait, wasn't it also,
That's
wait,
good.
wasn't it, it said that the homeowner will be fined, and
Yeah.
that I think brought it home. Yes, I believe so, because
Our
then the
standard fine
home,
is $250 per day.
there it is, see, that
I
was
need to start
huge.
calling people. I have to remember. I policed the trees, but I forgot about the blowers in my neighborhood.
Well, anyway,
Okay,
do it, do it, do it.
so just getting back
Ready to do
to a couple of things that we
I
should
think
get
so.
updates on. You have some updates on the EV charging stations.
Oh, yeah, so you saw today, it was right, so
Doing this or not?
on
Maybe you could.
sometimes we get into so many different
Sure.
projects that we
Sure.
lose track of other
I have to
projects.
get an email out.
So Link has been on board the whole time. It's just with this back and forth. Dan should have followed through a little bit better with the attorney, so we have the same village attorney, we lost or we switched our deputy village attorney. And so there was some language there that Dan needed to work out. Finally, Mary was much more responsive than the prior deputy village attorney, figured it right out today. So
So you
it was
signed the
fine.
contract.
So signed the contract. So the locations were already predetermined. And in the future, when we need more, we just ask the company to bring in another one. They bring in another one and we get 5% gross.
And I think we need to let Ellen know when they're actually installed.
Correct.
That's the key date for purposes of the.
How many
Yep.
are there gonna be?
12 for now.
In Mamaroneck.
Yes.
That's
Village in
amazing.
Mamaroneck.
How many?
Well,
More than the.
So do we know
two.
when they're gonna be installed?
I tried to get that today. I couldn't get.
You need a green ribbon cutting. That's like new.
Yes,
thing.
that would be, that would
Yeah,
be.
it's,
So
Are they,
solar panels on.
Are they
on
solar panels?
Municipal buildings, that was passed.
That was passed.
Yeah.
So that's that, that's good. Unified solar permit, I'm not quite sure where we are.
Okay,
with
so do you want me to give an update on this?
I don't know what suit.
The CSC and the CEC,
that. Okay,
the Government Operations Climate Action Plan. Alan Silver and I and Dan have attended the Hudson Valley Council, Regional Council has guided municipalities through the development of this. One of the first items of homework was to get the village board to pass a resolution saying we should formulate a climate action plan. It was on the work session last week, and I think it got bumped off because you might have run out of time.
It got bumped to the next meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully next week it will pass.
Okay.
The EV charging stations, we've just done that.
Just one quick, so one of the things they talked about was if you got municipal trucks and stuff that were EV or hybrid charging, getting a charger like either at the DPW. I don't know if Blink would do that because it's not enough revenue for them, but we were looking at a grant or.
So we have EV charging, we have an EV charging grant where we can put those in. I got
At,
the email,
at DPW,
and it would be at DPW. I don't have any EVs at
or
DPW.
but at least for, as you purchase in the future.
So the chief's car is an EV car. She got a Liam car. And we have a Bolt coming in for the building inspector. So this facility will have the ones from the
So
grant.
that was the one in the parking lot
Yeah.
or something.
Mhm. Did you see the chief's car is, the chief has a police issue Mustang, EV Mustang. Yeah.
Really?
Did see that the other day.
Yeah,
My
that's it.
husband commented. on
Yeah,
it.
that's her car, yeah.
Well, so you can drive around enforcing the leaf bans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We should, we can
Sneak up on them because they can't hear you.
It's like- For the grant, I have to complete the sign off on the grant. I think it's end of July or end of
Okay.
June, something like that.
All
Yeah.
right, but that'll help for
Yeah.
this, what Liam's talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
you need
good.
to get that truck with the barbecue option. Was that the Ford something?
No, we can't.
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad, but that was.
So the Board of Trustees passed a resolution last week that all new roofs and replacement roofs would have solar panels on them. And the energy stretch code and the unified solar permit. We discussed this with new building inspector,
Carolina, yeah.
who's on board with it, but just started and is dealing with a lot of other things. So her advisement was probably sort of later on in the year.
Yeah, so she and Bob Spolzino going through all the codes.
Yeah.
Trying to update the codes, and Bob is trying to unify certain land use codes and all that stuff, so it'll be included in that process.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah, but Carolina will do that.
Yeah.
Because we almost do almost all of what they're asking us to do already, so
sure.
it's
Yeah.
not a stretch. It's not a stretch. Right.
So I think we've actually covered in one way or the other, pretty much everything on here.
But you're a minute over.
Yeah, we gotta go.
Now
We started a
we
minute
started
late.
late. We started at 8, so we got a couple minutes to go.
No, we're actually an hour early.
Shall we adjourn?
Do we still have, do they have?
Yeah, they're still there.
Anything else from
Okay, well,
the remote participants?
No,
Renee.
nothing. Just
Thanks
Great
for
meeting,
sitting
guys.
with
That
us.
was a lot.
Thank you.
Any
I have a
ideas?
very tiny brief question because I'm ready to wrap myself, but Jerry, as we do this next community cleanup, if we can, especially on village property, locate areas where trash cans would help improve the litter situation.
Email today, I have to put up my email.
Send
Yeah.
forward that information.
It's a VOMMY.
I'm sorry, I got the microphone from the table
Yes.
where people are whispering on the microphone.
Yeah, sorry. Keep talking. You send those to me.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, send me those locations.
Okay, sounds good.
Probably.
All right, thank you forever, everyone, for letting us join remote.
Thanks, guys.
David, you have to make a thing, don't you?
Motion to adjourn?
I said.
Yeah, we're doing that remotely, guys. Okay.
Okay, I'll second your remote nomination.
Okay, good. All right. Okay.
Everyone was gonna.
We get all our
I don't think they're listening. Not paying any attention to us, Christie.
Oh, they can hear, they're just busy.
I'll second that before we lose our.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
What ideas?
Whoever, whenever, it's just. a sidewalk. It's
Yeah.
just a sidewalk.
That's a little more.
We need crosswalks. We need Yeah. I know that there's Oh. I mean, you know. Yeah.
Who will not speak? Who will not speak? Yes.
And he talked about signs, we have to organize. And to get a good sign.
I delegate.
Okay.
So he's ready to go.
You gotta talk.
I saw that in every meeting.
Yeah.
tell you.
And it's required.
Nice to meet you. And a lot of people.
Thank you so much.
Good. Oh, yeah, I'll be here in a month. Because I can't trust Lou. Yeah, that's the only way it gets done. That's the only way it gets done.
Can I ask you something, Jerry?
Yes.
So on this.